He works alone, his hands defiling the bodies of the dead in his thirst for knowledge and power. His name is Adam Crowley, a man who was once respected in the field of science, until fate led him along another path, towards black magic. Now he is in possession of the mythical Lost Diary of Samuel Pepys, a volume that contains the detestable rituals of the demon-worshipping Brotherhood of Hecate. Soon, he will complete his work. Tonight, as the sun sets on London one last time, he will unleash his demonic brood onto the streets. And should no one stop him, this city will be consumed by a horde of nightmare creatures.
Good evening, my fellow fiends, and welcome to the 10th night of Halloween and my first review of the month. This evening we are taking a look at the PS1 title, Nightmare Creatures. Nightmare Creatures was originally released for the PS1 in 1997, which fits it snugly between Resident Evil and Tomb Raider, which came out in 96, but before the more advanced Resident Evil 2 and sinister as fuck Silent Hill in 1999. Why am I even mentioning Tomb Raider? Well, at the time there was a lot of comparison, calling it a mixture between both Resident Evil and Tomb Raider. Interestingly, modern audiences looking back and older audiences with hindsight have taken to calling Nightmare Creatures the granddaddy of the Souls games, specifically Bloodborne. That may be more to do with aesthetics than the actual gameplay, although it could be argued there are other, albeit more basic, similar elements to it. Well, we are twatting loads of creatures, aren't we? The object of the game, apart from your hunt to track down and stop Crowley, is to face and kill every creature you come across in the level. At the end of each, it will even tell you the percentage of monsters you've killed and percentage of items collected. Though you don't have to get 100% to finish a level, the items certainly help, but the creature percentage is just another cool challenge to come back to, if you just want to make it through by the skin of your teeth the first time. You have the choice of two characters, Ignitus, a kick-ass monk, or Gymnast Nadia. Both fight slightly differently. Ignitus has a big staff, is slower but stronger. Nadia is much quicker and has a sword, but most of the time it's best to just use your legs to kick the crap out of everything. Controls are actually okay. Your character sort of locks into a close-by enemy. You can use the front shoulder buttons to circle them, click to circle to block, X to kick, square to use your weapon, and triangle to jump. Linking attacks together to form a combo is the best way to end your foes, and some are easier to perform than others. There's also pickups, the usual health, but also guns for single shot use, which can even be used on the environment in certain situations. Another cool weapon is the saw, which makes every attack remove enemies' limbs for a short time. It's so much fun. There are even more, like items to cause enemies to leave you alone, items that make enemies attack each other, items to stun, freeze, or blow up. There are a variety of nightmare creatures to face, late locations introducing even more. The most basic and common, and I won't lie, the most annoying, are the zombies. They won't die unless you cut them in half. Not even a head removal will do it. And you do this by pressing forward in either X or square if you're close enough. But they can block or attack first, even if you try and roll around them, making the timing to kill the fuckers tricky as fuck. You can be doing a perfect run, defeat bigger enemies, and then it's a zombie that ruins it all. Werewolves, though cool looking, are easy as anything to kick to death. Then you get those big unknown creatures that are a bit trickier. The big blue troll types can quickly kill you if you're not careful, and the bugs in the sewers are almost as annoying as the zombies. Going back to Tomb Raider, you can see at the time Nightmare Creatures carried a similar look. In 3D, it's certainly more atmospheric than Tomb Raider, but unlike Tomb Raider, precise this is not. Jumping can be a bit of a nightmare, so many lives will be lost in this way. The sewer stage, I'm looking at you. Why do they always bloody insist on sewer stages? Also unlike Tomb Raider, and although the environment entices you, this is not a game of exploration. And this is due to a mechanic which for some could be annoying, but for others is a little bit tasty, especially on the default harder difficulty. You see you have an adrenaline gauge. Every time you kill an enemy, it refills, but failure to kill a creature in time and allow it to run out will be instant death. You see there is a poison in the air, and only your adrenaline is enough to keep you alive. An interesting idea that keeps you on your toes. But saying don't explore, there are tons of items hidden off the beaten track, which are easy to locate in earliest levels, but later ones you need to know what you're doing to spend enough time grabbing the items in between linking beastly deaths together. It's very hard to get lost in the game, or indeed find a creature, except maybe towards the end. There's one location in particular that could have you going round the houses, muttering to yourself, I'm sure you've been here before. On the trail to hunt down Crowley, who pops up in cameo appearances now and then, wandering through a door or lobbing a bomb to blow up a bridge in your path. You go through many well-known locations around London. Some stages are more interesting than others. You begin in Chelsea, and it's a great introduction to what is to come, before moving on to Spitalfield, which has great lighting and fog effects. The soundtrack and sound effects are equally good throughout. Next, you face a giant man-eating plant before following Crowley under the Thames in the obligatory sewer stage, which I hate, and then coming out of the docks, which is another stage I'm not so keen on. Things start to get more interesting when we reach probably my favourite location, the Highgate Cemetery. It looks great here, the atmosphere, the snow slowly dropping, and we are introduced to the Harpies. And then Hempstead Heath, where they introduce the terrifying looking spiders, their webs starting to cover more and more of the land around you the further you go. The journey continues with tiny snippets of story between the stages that don't really explain much, but at least there's something. Eventually we track down Crowley to a burning Westminster and battle for a horde of enemies to finally reach the roof and a mutated Crowley, who can only be hurt by combos, and he is a ridiculous sponge. But eventually, he does go down. There is a very short ending FMV which promises a sequel, yet the sequel took a completely different route, but that's another story. But what about this one? You know, I think visually it's aged astonishingly well. The lack of story is made up for an atmosphere of plenty, from the look of the locations you journey through, the little details here and there, the light low fog in some stages, and the falling snow or rain in others. The OST really adds to it too. Played straight off the CD, you can listen to the stage's music by putting the PS1 disc in any CD player. It even has all the incidental sounds as well. I think this game, more than any other I've played recently, deserves a little remaster. Retextured environments, a better lock-on system with enemies, maybe a fiddle with the controls and other little quality of life touches. Add more context, like small cutscenes between stages, as there's obviously more going on than we know from what is told to us within the game. You know, I thoroughly enjoyed my time going through the game again. I wasn't sure, as it's been a long time, and I actually repurchased it for the Halloween season. I'm glad I chose this one in the end. And I hope you've enjoyed my little review of Nightmare Creatures for the 10th night of Halloween. Expect more reviews popping up here and there as the month continues. Come back tomorrow if you dare for more spooky shenanigans. And remember, you don't know what it is unless you click on the video. As always, I hope you're having the frightfulest of nights, my fellow fiends. And until next time, be seeing you.